morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining. At CIQ, we're focused on powering the next generation of software infrastructure, leveraging the capabilities of cloud, hyperscale, and HPC. From research to the enterprise, our customers rely on us for the ultimate Rocky Linux, Werewolf, and Apptainer support escalation. We provide deep development capabilities and solutions, all delivered in the collaborative spirit of open source.
Yay! Oh man, it's really good to see you guys again. We are going to be talking about, as like a little recap here from SC24 in Atlanta, which is the last time I saw you guys. So it is a real treat to be here again. Hello and good morning.
Good morning, Rose.
Hi.
Hello.
So yeah, sorry, I feel a little bit distracted. Like about 10 maybe seconds ago, maybe a minute ago, I had this like crazy alert on my phone that there was going to be a tsunami coming my way.
Me too.
Brian, oh, that's right. You're way closer to the bay. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm a little distracted as well.
It was very loud. It was like, warning, warning. I'm like, wait, oh my gosh, but I'm so far inland. I'm like, there's no way a tsunami is touching me. But yes, if you need to go, we know why. You take care of your life, sir.
Got it.
Okay, solid. Yes, so we are here, and again, thank you guys for being here. I'm really excited to talk about. We're going to be talking about Fuzzball a little bit here today, which is exciting. So let's just do some intros real quick. I'm Rose Stein. I do sales admin here at CIQ. I am very happy to be here. I'm also your host for this afternoon, and I'll go on to Jonathan.
Yeah, my name's Jonathan Anderson. I'm an HPC engineer here at CIQ. Work on Fuzzball and Werewolf primarily.
Yes, you do, which is really exciting. I mean, we saw at the conference a couple weeks ago just how much uptake Werewolf is getting. So it's actually really exciting. So thanks for all the good work you've been putting into that over the years.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Mr. Dave Godlove.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave Godlove. I wear a lot of different hats, but I'm a technical product writer here at CIQ.
Yes, you are. And thank you for your good work on that as well. That's a wild job because it's so necessary and not everyone is good at it. So you are good at it. So thank you for taking up that job. We very much appreciate it. And Mr. Brian.
Hey everyone, Brian Fan here. I'm an HPC engineer here at CIQ. I work primarily on Fuzzball as well, but I also work with all of the CIQ software stack and putting solutions together.
You do. And thank you for that as well. Okay, cool. So let's talk about SC, you guys. We were in Atlanta for Super Computing 24 just a couple of weeks ago. And we want to talk about what are like some of your most favorite moments. I got to say the Dell AI, did you guys make it over there to like where like they had the Dell AI like platform where it was, what do you call those little like those cubes that container cubes? They had like 2 giant container cubes. You could like walk in and go all the way to the top and then see a view from the top of the whole conference.
I did not make it over there. I saw it from the outside and I heard several people talk about it, but no, I pretty much stuck to the booth. I walked the floor a little bit kind of before the floor opened and talked to some other folks that were, presenting and setting things up. But no, I pretty much stuck to the booth mostly the entire time.
Yeah. Well, that was also fun there. We had a really good time in a really beautiful booth. So thank you all the people behind the scenes that made that beautiful booth happen. Jonathan, did you get to see from the top?
No, honestly, same kind of story with Dave. I at least on the show floor, I spent most of the time at our booth, and then we had some customer conversations and meetings outside. I did go to a couple BOFs that we can talk about at some point. But yeah, for the most part, on the show floor, stuck around the booth and talked to people that were coming around to ask us about what we were doing.
And there was a lot. It was very active. I mean, we had our meeting room, somebody in there at all times of the day, and somebody doing a presentation or just a lot of activity, a lot of questions, it was really, really exciting. Yep. Awesome. Brian, did you get to see it from up top?
Yeah, I did make it to the Dell AI booth. Snapped a couple panoramic photos and a couple videos from there. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. So what else kind of stuck out to you at the conference?
I think I forget which booth it was. They had an airplane there with some QR code type of things on there, and then they had a video, camera pointing to this plane, and then a computer hooked up to this camera, and they basically had a simulation running of the plane model in real time, which was kind of cool.
I wanted to jump inside that airplane so bad. And then the after hours, every time I walk by it, I'm like looking around. I was like, hey, don't do it, Rose. Don't do it.
No one's watching.
No one's watching. Totally.
Yeah, we had a little conversation about that as we walked by, didn't we?
We did. I was like, anyone looking, Dave? I'm going for it. No, what a bummer if it like, I don't even know if it like tilted down or like somehow broke. Oh my gosh, I'd be so embarrassed. Oh, so what was
one
some
of the
fun
vendors
parts?
that I did notice at the show is at least it's a new name to me, is Fedora, which is a storage vendor that's formerly known as Panasys, and they have the same parallel file system. I've been interested in it for quite a while, and my understanding is that the rebranding is part of an effort to, like, historically Panasys has been an appliance that you buy from them, and that they're branching out and trying to sell their software as a solution you can get from a number of different vendors, which I think is a really good strategy for them, and I hope will make them a bit more competitive in the market. They've had their supporters, and they've had a really good solution for a while, so I'm excited to see more opportunity for that getting out into more people's hands. But from the attracting attention perspective, they had, I should know the guy's name, but some famous weightlifter.
The mountain. Come on,
yeah,
the mountain.
There we go.
Right.
They had the mountain there lifting petabytes of storage, and then they were taking guesses from the audience on how many petabytes he would be able to lift. And I think I just missed that. I think they had him out front, and people were taking selfies with him. But I was the dork in the back trying to find an engineer to tell me about the file system while that was going on.
That's awesome. Yeah, he actually stopped by and played a little Street Fighter. I missed it.
Oh, nice.
But there's a picture of him playing Street Fighter at our booth.
That's great.
That's awesome. Okay, so what else? What else was interesting? Any swag? Any other speakers? Any?
So,
Dave?
From a wow factor perspective, so I got lots of impressions to share, but from a wow factor, kind of like, this is really interesting. Yeah, I echo some of the stuff that the three of you saw as well. But one thing that stuck out to me is kind of back behind us a little bit. There was Georgia Tech had a booth, and they had at the booth a large xylophone and a piano and a drum kit. And the xylophone was interesting because it had a couple of robotic arms with mallets, and it had kind of like a V-shaped kind of boom behind it with a little face on it with eyebrows and stuff. And the boom could move around and swivel and look at you and do things, and the eyebrows could go up and down. And the mallets on the robot hands could play the xylophone. Now, that's interesting. You've got a robot playing a xylophone. That's kind of cool. But I think that what maybe a lot of people missed as they walked by the booth, I kind of stopped and talked to them for a few minutes, is that there was no pre-programmed music at all that the robot was playing. Instead, the accompaniment from the piano and from the drum kit, the robot would listen to that and then would improvise. So it was AI, it was inference. It would improvise in real time along with the music as they played. So I thought that was pretty slick and pretty cool. And it was kind of a neat detail that, I think a lot of people who just walk by would be kind of like, oh, that's cute, robot playing the xylophone. But it was like, yeah, but there's no, like, it's also coming up with the music, which was pretty neat.
And I say she because it had a female voice, also sang. So,
I did not catch it singing. I heard from our booth, you could hear that singing sometimes, but I did not. Was it like ABBA, Dancing Queen kind of stuff?
There was many different songs, yeah.
I don't know why, but I kept hearing, maybe it was in my head, but I kept hearing Dancing Queen, and I was like, why is there so much ABBA?
Totally.
That's just all the time for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think behind the scenes there is a picture of Forest, so one of our guys with the mountain, but that link does not work for me, Jess. So you're going to have to give me a different link that just goes to, I don't know, something, not any picture. Cool. So was there anything else, Brian or Jonathan, about just kind of like fun moments that you want to talk about?
So a personal one for me, which I may
Yeah.
have told the story last year after SC then. A friend of mine and I have a standing date to meet up at CIQ at SC and play Mario Kart on our DS. So my first SC ever, I won a DS at one of the giveaways, and then he and I and some friends at Argonne, where we used to work together, would play Mario Kart at lunch. And so he happens to be a customer of ours now, so we're in pretty close contact all the time. But we had made our standing appointment and met back in the vendor area to play some Mario Kart. So I was glad to get that in.
That is awesome. Okay, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna have to ask you for some tips on that. I'm new to Mario Kart. My son, which I know is an amazingly crazy thing to say, but my son just recently bought a Switch, and so we have Mario Kart in the house now, and I don't know how to play it.
welcome.
And I understand that's a little bit frivolous on its face, but to me, the reason that actually is a nice anecdote here is, to me, SC is all about the relationships with the people that we've had, and this guy goes all the way back to my first real professional job, and it's really great to get to meet up with the people at the show that we've known for a long time.
So you know those like little carts that you're driving in the Mario Kart, those little whatever they're called, carts.
Yeah,
I
they're
did one
go-karts.
go-kart. I did one down a giant mountain when I took my son to New Zealand last year, like a live one. It was the scariest thing. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. We drove up this mountain. It's like in the wintertime, it's a ski mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Where they have like the slopes and everything. But in the summertime, they have it's like you could bring your bike and you can mountain bike around on the same trails, or you can do these little go-karts. It was crazy. It was so fast. I was like, this is so much fun. It was the funnest thing I ever did. So I highly recommend doing it in person as well.
Yeah, nice.
So we do have a picture here. Can you guys do? Yes. So this is our Forest, dear Forest, and he is shaking hands with the mountain. That is so fun.
And Forrest is not a small guy, He's this photograph it makes him look a little bit minuscule. He is not a small person.
Oh, that is so fun. I love pictures. Okay, so let's see. Let's stop sharing that one. I think we actually have like a little a montage or a video of things maybe that can help spark some of our conversation here. So let me go back and just share. I think it's this one. I think maybe we could share this. Let me know, guys, if you can see it here. Yes. Okay.
Something.
Press play. That was so much fun. I totally forgot about all the people that had their red hat fedoras on with the little Rocky sticker.
Yeah, that was
The
great.
pin. That was fun.
One thing I did forget to mention is, we like to take a stopover at the student cluster competition, And increasingly, kind of year over year, we're seeing more pickup by Rocky Linux, which isn't surprising. CentOS would have been a really popular choice there before, so it makes sense that most of them, and I think all but 2 of them this year, would be running Rocky Linux. But I was also excited this year to see that at least one site was also running Werewolf, which was really cool. And I wish that we had known about it before, because they had run into a number of issues where if they'd gotten plugged into the community, we could have helped them out quite a lot. And so I went and introduced myself, and the guy that was leading that team like had an immediate laundry list of questions for why they were having certain problems. And so I've reached out to him and reached out to the professor that's sponsoring that team, and found out not only are they likely to do it again next year, so I'm hoping that we can keep in contact for that. But it sounds like, and it's at the University of New Mexico. Let me check my notes real quick. Well, I'll confirm here in a minute. But they teach an HPC class that's based on a number of CIQ products, including Rocky Linux and Aptainer, I think, and Werewolf. So it's my hope that we can keep in touch and maybe support them a bit in the community.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you actually for mentioning and reminding all of us. It's interesting to me that not everyone, I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? Like sometimes you're not really sure where to go for help and support. And specifically for Werewolf, the community is the strongest. You're going to get the best, most immediate support in the Slack channel. So we'll have Jess post a link to join the Slack channel for Werewolf if that is of interest to you.
And people are finding it. I noticed that 19 more people joined the Slack immediately after SC, so that's also cool to see.
That is very cool. Yes, good job. Yeah, it's very exciting what's happening in the Werewolf world. And what's even cooler is that you've been kind of preparing for this for the last year, right? Like really kind of ramping up, making a lot of changes, doing a lot of things, to the code and the functionality to begin with. So it's really fun to see it picking up the way that it is.
Yeah, and it's a good time to be in the Werewolf community for sure. There's a lot of kind of confluence of things happening that are driving interest in the project, and we're getting a lot of new contributors too. I don't have the statistics in front of me. One of the things we did in the booth was a little impromptu werewolf, not quite impromptu, but unofficial werewolf BOF, birds of a feather session. And, we gave an update on how things have been going over the last year, which has included a lot of formalization, but also included several new first-time contributors, which I'm really excited to see, including large functionality that's been contributed and supported by a guy at University of Arizona who's been working with the project a lot. So again, we appreciate all those community contributors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was really awesome. And I'm also noticing your scarf. So thank you,
Yes,
Josh,
I had to go
for
and get it. To display all of my pins.
Yeah, that's super fun. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And thank you, Jess, for making them for all of us as well. It was cool to have that kind of be our one thing that kind of, connected all of us that were working at the booth was this wonderful scarf that we all had. So that was really cool. Okay, so yes, Mr. Godlove, what came up for you from watching that video, or what else would you like to share?
I mean, from watching the video, I just saw the Street Fighter cabinet again, and it was just so much fun to watch everybody, especially Greg, and how much joy he got in particular out of playing Street Fighter. Such a great idea. More to kind of like professional stuff. Not that Street Fighter is not professional, but whatever. Really, I think this was the year of Fuzzball at SC.
It sure was.
To be totally candid, I mean, our company started off really based on Fuzzball, more or less, and then we've kind of shifted focus a little bit because of an opportunity to create a new operating system and promote it in the community, which has been a tremendous opportunity. But it's time now we're shifting focus back.
Yeah.
And so I think that we were really promoting Fuzzball quite a bit. And that was one of the reasons it was the year of Fuzzball. But it was also like, not only were we promoting it, we had a lot of people who were coming and asking questions about Fuzzball. There was a lot more recognition by folks that I saw as far as what is Fuzzball, and what it can do, and more questions about its functionality and stuff like that. So I thought it was really, kind of the year of Fuzzball.
Absolutely. You want to touch
say
on
one
that?
other thing. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Riz.
Oh yeah, I just wanted you to kind of explain to people what Fuzzball is.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to explain it, and the way that I like to explain it, especially within an HPC focused audience, like we had obviously at SC, and that we might have a little bit in this webinar. But the way I was explaining it there is that, all right, it's a story. If you go back 10 years, a bunch of us were HPC admins, and we were getting requests from users to install Docker. And we kind of know how that story went. Like, we looked at it and said, well, it doesn't have the security model for a multi-tenant system. And it's also kind of like just not designed to run jobs. And so Greg kind of formed a community around the project Singularity, which became Aptainer. And that project was, if we could build for you a container platform that was, based on HPC kind of ideals and an HPC mindset, what would it look like? And, at the time, there were a lot of folks who were like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't reinvent the wheel. You shouldn't, you should use Docker. You should just make it work in HPC. You should, but I think that we've seen that this has been an extraordinarily successful project. It's helped a lot of people, and it was the right thing to do. Now, guess what? We're in exactly the same position. Everybody's coming and saying, hey, we want to start using Kubernetes within HPC. And admins are scratching their heads and looking at it and trying to figure out how to kind of force it to run jobs and try to, make it work. And there's some success with doing that. But some of us are saying, okay, if we had a container orchestration platform which was specific for HPC and for running jobs, what would that look like? And we're doing that again. And it's kind of, it's history repeating itself, because some folks are saying you shouldn't do that. You should use Kubernetes. You should use the existing tool that's already there. You should make it work in HPC. Well, we've seen the success already of purpose building a tool for containers for HPC, and I think we're going to see it again. So that's the story of Fuzzball to me. To me, it's container orchestration based on jobs instead of microservices, and from an HPC perspective, and that's really what it is in a nutshell.
Well said. That is going to be a short right there. Clip that. Boom.
Well, it's not that short, but yeah, okay.
Well, shorter
we
than
have
the entire
long.
webinar. Yeah.
Long.
Short, long. Awesome. So Brian, is there anything about what Jade just said that you would like to add to or kind of talk about? Because I know you are in there. You're working on Fuzzball right now. So talk to us about it. And
I guess expanding on Dave's thread, I think just the experience of explaining Fuzzball to people that passed by the booths, and I think what was most memorable for me were those kind of aha moments where, the people we're talking to are like, this will solve the exact problem I'm having, and this is the exact tool for the users that I'm supporting, and it would basically solve a lot of my problems, which I thought was, very memorable for me.
yeah, was there any of those problems that you kind of remember and would like to share?
I think it's, I guess from what I remember, it's basically people supporting users, which were, I guess, predominantly GUI users. They didn't really like using the command line. And of course, Fuzzball does have a web interface where you can create workflows, submit your jobs, monitor them. And and it seemed like the perfect solution for that particular person supporting these users.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. One of the many things that Fuzzball can do. So appreciate that. Jonathan, is there anything that you want to expand on that thought?
So for me, I'm mostly just thinking of how my experience with CIQ at SC has changed from year to year. It was like the first time people didn't know what CIQ was at all, and we were introducing ourselves. And then people knew who CIQ was, and they knew what Rocky Linux was, and they were finding us through that.
Mm-hmm.
But they hadn't heard of Fuzzball. That kind of needed to be introduced to the concept in the first place. This year, my experience was more like people not only knew CIQ, knew Fuzzball, but knew the problem they wanted to solve, and that Fuzzball was the solution for it. And the excitement around the product and the project for that, and to see, oh, we were right. There is, in fact, this gap in the market, and I'm just excited to get it in more people's hands. We haven't talked about Federate much, maybe at all yet in this webinar. But I think that's really where the capabilities of the platform are really going to light up for people, where now they have the ability to write their workflow and run it anywhere that they can run Fuzzball instead of just in single deployments like we've been able to up to now. And being able to show that off the show and see people's reaction to it was great.
Yeah, that was exciting. Do you want to expand a little bit more on well, AI, right? Of course, everyone, like the AI explosion has begun, right? And I don't see it, tapping out anytime soon. So how does Fuzzball help AI workflows?
And I'm an old guard HPC person, so I've got my, old man yells at cloud face on, saying AI is just more HPC.
Yeah.
But where it really does is this ability to run anywhere. And, a lot of the AI researcher space has been in the cloud and hasn't had access to some of the tooling that's been available in traditional HPC. But then the same is true from the other end, that HPC people haven't had access to the capacity and the capabilities that have been available out in the cloud. And so it's our goal with Fuzzball to let people run their workloads wherever they want to run them and bring their AI workloads in-house or scale them out into a cloud computing resource. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting possibilities there, but not in a specific to AI sense. It's a general solution that, by being general, solves some of these scalability and work scheduling issues that people have with AI as well.
Yeah.
I mean, on the AI front too, the other thing, so we've talked not at, I didn't talk at SC, but at, in other meetings and things, talked to, some AI researchers who have said that, when they train models, they're not writing code a lot of times. They're not, worrying about what ports are open to be able to, attach to a Jupyter notebook or some other visualization tool or whatever. The companies that they work for have frameworks that they've put together where it's just like an assembly line almost, where they can take a new model and just drop it in and say, train this thing. And then they can watch it with their dashboards in real time as the weights change, and they can kind of see how it's progressing and maybe interrupt it as it's going and change a few things around and tweak it. So they don't have to wait, until the model gets completely done. I would say, Fuzzball is not strictly an AI solution. And so we don't have that kind of capability, but what we are doing is providing a tool set to make it very, very easy to build that kind of capability with Fuzzball. So it's, it's halfway there as far as, taking the SSH out of the equation and taking the terminal and just allowing people to just interact. And, there's a lot of facilities there to be able for, companies to quickly and easily be able to build the kinds of visualization, the kinds of interactive, things that are needed that, people need for AI. I mean, I was kind of surprised to find out in some of the meetings that we've had with AI folks that in some ways they're a lot less technical than HPC folks, right? They are totally embracing the GUI, totally want, to just kind of, drag and drop and press buttons and do things like that. So it's once again, it's just validation that we're moving in the right direction with us.
I like it.
One more thing on AI that I would say, so this was kind of surprising to me. And I guess it goes back a little bit to Jonathan's old guard, yelling at the cloud kind of thing. I
hadn't even noticed the pun yet in Old Man Yells at Cloud there. But.
So the last two conferences that I've attended have been before SC, have been an HPC users group at Argonne National Lab and HPC on Wall Street in Manhattan. And both of those conferences explicitly changed their titles and their focus to, in one case to include AI, and in another case to actually make the entire conference about AI. So the HPC users group basically shifted its entire focus to AI. And so I was interested to see, here we are at SC, how much of SC is going to be dominated by AI now. And I was kind of surprised, actually. It was the opposite of what my impression was. We saw, and I mentioned like the Georgia Tech demonstration, we saw some booths and demonstrations and things that explicitly were talking about AI, but it wasn't on the tip of everybody's tongue yet.
No.
It was not like everywhere. It didn't dominate the conference the way I thought it was going to. And so that, it's actually a little concerning to me, because it's kind of like, this is the cutting edge stuff, and this is the direction in which, we're converging toward as far as AI research and HPC. And I'm worried that maybe some of the more traditional HPC folks are maybe kind of missing that. It's been going on for a while now.
Yeah. Dave, you say it hasn't done that yet. And I wonder if it's that it has been that way in a previous year, and it's kind of melding out into just another special case of HPC. Is that a possibility, or do you think it really is that it hasn't caught up yet position?
That's a good question. That's a good perspective.
Because I feel like it has been that way before, where it felt like it was big data one year and then it was AI for a while. But I'm not the best historian, so it might just be my individual impression.
It could be. I don't remember going to an SC and really feeling like this is being dominated by AI by AI now. But it might just be something I don't remember. Yeah.
Well, it does seem to be almost everywhere. So I guess there's still a lot of use cases and a lot of things to do that really have nothing to do with AI, which kind of makes sense. I mean, if people are still running CentOS 5 or 6 or 7, they might not be able to run anything related to AI in their environment. So
I am going back in time through old SC websites, because you can go to like sc21.supercomputing.org, SC22, and looking at, because there's usually like a tagline for each year. And so like SC22 is HPC matters, and SC23 is I am HPC. So maybe the ACM is trying to be a bulwark of traditional HPC for this conference against an AI encroachment. And I just hadn't noticed that or considered it before. I'll have to think about that and look at that a bit more.
I mean, it's all the same, really. So I feel like that's if that's the intention, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think at CIQ we have kind of coined the term. I think we have. Forgive me if I am wrong and it was somebody else, but the performance intensive computing, really kind of bringing the two worlds together in my mind.
I certainly hear that from us more than I hear it from others at this point.
Right.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, right? As that kind of being like the umbrella. Yeah.
That's everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah. PIC. I like it. Okay, so next on my list of things to talk about, we can go back to Fuzzball, of course, if you would like to, but is this the birds of a feather? You would kind of mention that, Jonathan. Was there something you wanted to?
Yeah, I went to two. I went to the High Performance Software Foundation BOF. So the HPSF is an umbrella, foundation, I guess, within the Linux Foundation that is trying to tie together a bunch of, basically it's kind of a follow-on, an unofficial follow-on from the Exascale project, where a bunch of software was created in support of exascale computing. But needs a home as funding sources for the Exascale project has wound down. And so they're trying to make sure that those software tools that were built up for HPC and for Exascale's HPC aren't abandoned and have support and long-term development. And that's applicable to us because one of the software projects in the HPSF is Aptainer, which was already a Linux Foundation project. So interested in the continuing maturity of that group and how it might help, further use of Aptainer and maturity in the Aptainer project. But then there's also a question of whether the Werewolf project would be applicable for this group, because most of the other software is like specific scientific software, like it's something an end user would use, and there's not much infrastructure software in there yet. So we're having an ongoing conversation there. And then the other was I went to the OpenHPC BOF. And again, OpenHPC is apropos to us because they've recently released their, I think OpenHPC 3.2 includes Werewolf 4 as a primary recommended deployment mechanism for an OpenHPC style cluster, which is really exciting for us. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting that project as well as the Werewolf project itself. But to just be part of that user community, hear the problems, the solutions that Werewolf have been for them, as it's a relatively new part of the OpenHPC ecosystem. The version 4 of Werewolf is. Version 3 has been part of OpenHPC for years. But yeah, lots of support from them. OpenHPC also gave a talk at the CIQ booth, and frankly, like half of it was just Werewolf 4 information, which was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
But yeah, lots of Aptainer, lots of Rocky Linux, and of course Werewolf in the OpenHPC community, and hoping to be increasingly a part of it.
Awesome. Brian, did you have any birds of a feather stories?
No. I was around for the Werewolf and Aptainer one around
Yeah.
our booth, but no, I wasn't able to attend any outside of our booth.
Yeah. Was there anything about the ones that were in our booth that you want to highlight?
Nothing of note at the moment. Dave, is there anything from the Aptainer one that you'd like to highlight?
The Obtainer one, honestly, I don't think we did a super bang up job promoting it ahead of time, and so because of that, I think a lot of people were kind of like, "Wait, there's a VOF going on." That's probably that's got a lot to do with me. Like, my bad, I should have done more. But it was cool because we ended up with kind of a small intimate gathering of people, and it was fun to just kind of like sit down in a little huddle and talk to folks, everything from folks who were kind of beginners and were like, what is this Aptainer thing? And kind of, wanted to know a little bit about it, to folks who were having really specific problems. And so it was a nice time to just kind of sit down and really connect with some new users and some longtime users who had it was almost like, doing Slack in real life or something. It was nice. So it turned out well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think both the Werewolf and the Aptainer communities have monthly meetings, right? I think, is it Werewolf that's every other week, actually, and then Aptainer that's once a month?
So twice a month for Werewolf. I think it's the first and third Wednesday.
Twice a month also for Aptainer. So it's Tuesdays, first and third Tuesdays.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, those are great places to kind of pop in and see what's going on and stay up to date with what's happening. And then, of course, if you have, what do you call it? Like a suggestion, right? of what you would like to see happen in the project. That's a great place, the community. And then Aptainer is also on Slack.
Yeah, Aptainer has a pretty active Slack community as well.
Very active.
Yeah, those community meetings are awesome. They're usually, kind of a smaller group of core developers. And what we usually typically go over in the meetings, we'll talk about the milestone, for the next release, or the milestones for the next releases, what pieces of work are in there to go into the next releases. And then we'll bring up specific issues that have been raised on GitHub that might need further discussion, and kind of get a plan together for action. And then also, if there's any folks who are kind of new to those meetings, we'll have time to ask them, are you just kind of here to chill out and watch? Is there something specific you want to talk about? So yeah, it is a great place to bring ideas and stuff like that. It's kind of it's not like a 10,000 view. It's a little bit more like right on top of some specific things. So it might take a couple meetings and kind of reviewing things on GitHub to kind of get up to speed and kind of, get into that mode. But yeah, it's a great place to get plugged in for sure.
It's also a really good place, especially in Aptainer, to get assigned work to do on Aptainer, which can be intimidating. But if you have any interest in getting involved in an open source community, Dave is this is Dave Dykstra, Dr. Dave, is very eager to get people to do work in the project. And I I think my first ever contribution to an open source project was by asking for a bug to be fixed in Aptainer, and then the issue became assigned to me.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
But there's support in the community. If you
Yeah.
are in any way willing and interested to do that, it's a good way to find motivation for it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. And then, of course, CIQ as a company, we do provide, the professional services, the support, the, whatever you need kind of on top of that, and training as well for Aptainer or Werewolf. If that's something that you want to get into your environment. Okay, wonderful. Let's see. Is there any questions in the chats all around? This would be a good time to kind of let us know and pop them up. We would love to answer any questions. So if questions are kind of in your mind rolling around, you just pop them into the comments and we will bring them up. Arthur Tide, what's up, man? Does the team think the massive hugeness of SC24 was due to AI, inflow of money into the space?
It didn't seem that much huger. It didn't seem that much bigger than other SCs I've been to. It just seems bigger than more recent SCs, like post-pandemic SCs. So it has felt like it's been coming back. And I'm sure, money is money. I'm sure some of that money is from an influx from AI, but it seems like it's a relatively normal conference in the line of SC conferences.
Yeah, so I've got several impressions on that. Number one, the shape of the space was different.
Yeah.
And so because of that, it was like a long, thin corridor, and instead of like being a big square. And so because of that, you could walk and walk and walk and walk, before getting to the booth. So it seemed really huge from that perspective because of that. There was a lot of people there. I will say too, though, to that point, one of our neighbors was selling transformers.
Ugh.
And like just straight up power. And so you might be kind of like, well, what are they doing at SC? Well, what they're doing at SC is, if you're kind of keeping an eye on the AI community and you're watching the news and stuff like that, you're seeing right now that a lot of the private labs like Google and Microsoft, et cetera, are getting really interested in having small nuclear reactors because they need power so bad. And so so there was this company that was serving transformers, and it was actually, had a couple of big speakers and some dance music going, which was so welcome. So that it was not silent at our booth. It was so awesome. And they also, what else was welcome is they had one of their big transformers was actually like a big beer keg, and they were serving beer pretty much all day, which was
They were having a good time.
Anywho, I kind of heard that really they just needed to get like a single order. I mean, this is like a rumor, but I heard that they just needed to get like a single order to make it worthwhile for their presence to be there. And on like the first day, they had like 4 leads or something like that. So they were just there celebrating. And that's directly linked to AI, right?
Yeah.
Nothing is more power hungry than a room full of GPUs right now, for sure.
I spoke to them as well, and I was also very surprised. Like, Transformers. I'm like, what? I actually said, "What are you guys doing here?" And then they told me that whole same story that you said.
That
and I was
transformer, the other transformer.
Right.
Yeah.
But man, at least it's AI and not crypto. I just gotta say.
Oh, that's funny. That's fun. Okay, well, we definitely had a wonderful time. I'm very much looking forward to next year is going to be in St. Louis?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we already have like a tagline for that one? SC25?
Oh, I don't know. I expect not.
Does it exist? I'm sure everyone's trying to get their rooms now.
There.
That happens so quickly.
Oh, HPC Ignites. We do have it.
Okay.
It goes along with the barbecue history of St. Louis, right?
There you go. I like it. That's awesome.
Well,
all right.
Well,
Well,
we're going to have in the booth next year then. Stay with the barbecue.
Oh yeah. I'd be smoking some ribs if we could get some sort of like, exhaust system going. I'd be happy to. I don't want to smoke up the whole conference though.
Smoke up the whole conference. That would be fun. All All right. So what are the takeaways? Let's go around and do some takeaways from the conference, and then of course, kind of like our presence there. Jonathan, you want to start?
For me, it's kind of the same that it always is. The contacts with the community and the people that are using the software and the people that are doing the work is always great. And I was excited to see more and more of what we're doing be an integral part of what's going on out there. Whether it's Rocky Linux is just everywhere, or more people using Aptane, or more people using Werewolf, or the excitement that we're seeing around Fuzzball, and how it very clearly has a use case that we're excited to launch it into.
Yeah. Well said. It was a very, very good time for all of us. Dave, you have the wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what Jonathan said, a lot of validation that we're in the right place at the right time. Like I said, I think it was really the year of Fuzzball. And that really was first on everybody's mind. And it is very validating to hear people like enunciating exactly the kinds of problems that you're trying to solve, and then be like, that is this product, and so it was really wonderful to get that validation and get that insight that, yep, we're doing exactly what we need to be doing, and to get like also feedback from users as far as like, this is what we really need, and this is the direction that we want you to go. So yep, I think it was totally the year of Fuzzball.
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually kind of funny. Some people would come by because, of course, there's still people that aren't familiar with everything that we do, or who we are as CIQ and our relationship with the different open source, projects and that kind of stuff. And sometimes people would come by and, ask them about, their environment and what they're doing and what their job is and some of the struggles that they're having. And it's like, oh yeah, this will solve that problem. And another, oh, and this, and this, and it kind of seems ridiculous, right? Like, what are you, a one-stop shop? Like, you're just going to solve all of my problems? Like, well, kinda. I mean, at an HPC conference,
you bet.
Yes, exactly. We do. So yeah, that was fun. Brian, you got some wrap ups? You actually did some Fuzzball Federate demonstrations at the conference, didn't you?
Yes. So yeah, like similar to what Dave said, this was the year of Fuzzball. We were able to demonstrate Fuzzball Federate, which basically combines two different Fuzzball orchestrate clusters together. You are able to submit to a single interface and target specific storage classes on each cluster. Or if you're not targeting any specific storage, you're able to first saturate your entire on-prem compute resources and then burst your workflow into the cloud, which was really cool. But yeah, it was great to show that off to everyone that came to our demos. Yeah.
That was really exciting. And in fact, we're going to be having those because we recorded them. So we're just doing, a couple little editing stuff so that the audio and the visual and everything kind of goes together nicely. So look out for those. We definitely will be posting them on YouTube, and I'm sure on LinkedIn. We'll kind of, post some of those videos as well. And then if Fuzzball is something that you guys are interested in, you want to talk to us more about, we're going to be doing some, absolutely. Definitely come talk to us. So go to ciq.com and you can fill out any form in there and it will come to me. You can also email us info@ciq.com. That will also come to me, and I'll make sure to get you in touch with the right people. We're going to be doing some beta testing because it's already in the hands of a few of our customers. And of course, we want to broaden that a little bit so that we can get down into the details of what you need. So if you want to be part of that, we would love for you to be a part of that. So definitely contact us. Alrighty. Well, I think that is it for today. You guys, thank you so much for your time and everything that you're doing behind the scenes, and just how wonderful it is as you kind of take what you're working on, at home, because we are fully remote, which is a wonderful part of our company, and bringing it out into the public and having the conversations and helping people do what they need to do. Appreciate it. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, Rose.
Thanks, Rose. Thanks, everybody.
See you next time. Bye.